Demon, I came to kill you. No, huh? What do you mean no? I'm here to bury you 5 feet underground. You won't? Why not? Because we are getting married. What? No way I'm going to marry the enemy. I'm going to talk about agriculture, economy, politics. Huh? And I bring you potato. Well, I also couldn't imagine what it would be like to live without potatoes, so I don't think he's entirely wrong, but whatever. Let's go outside. Relax, I'm not going to explain potatoes here like in Shimeji's video, don't worry. Right, when something new is created, it goes through a period of testing as to whether it will be something that will last, or whether it will just be another invention that serves no purpose in society as a whole. This new thing will last until someone takes advantage of it for the last time, so it could last a few months, maybe even years, and the longer it lasts, the more chances there are for there to be a competition within that new thing. And as we have all studied at school, there's nothing better than competition when the subject is selling something to someone. The market says which versions of the innovative thing is better and has more right to continue existing. If we are talking about a product, many of them after being on the market for so long, we can say that there is nothing left to innovate so many years later. For example, a potato peeler. Not talking about the quality of manufacturing and materials, there won't be that much variation without becoming another type of product. But when this thing is figurative and not physical like that, what happens? There's no way you can say that art has an ending, that it can't stop evolving. You can say there is some really good art out there over the years, but by its nature, it's something that is innately personalized to each individual and will never stop evolving. So when something new is created in the artistic world, in theory, as long as someone is interested, there's no limit to how much it will advance and get better. Animes had their beginnings more than decades ago. At first, it was something perhaps unrecognizable in the term we know today. But over the years, the Japanese art of telling an animated story was improved side by side with the technology that was sculpting the medium into something we recognize more today. But after anime as something that exists became something that has a huge role in the market, another problem appeared. The problem of saturation. When there's too much product for the consumer's limited ability to keep up. You yourself, I doubt that you can watch all the anime of the season throughout the entire year. In fact, nowadays it's difficult to even see all animes of a single season from how many are being made, but anyway. Because of this, what do you do to make your work be chosen by people? So when someone arrives home after work, sit and watch your work and not anyone else's. Those who produce these works seek to make stories that try to stand out, to have more opportunities to be successful. Either you make an already expected story with an unexpected quality that captures people because it's so good, or you look for the second alternative, and theoretically the easiest among the two. Stand out by offering something that people wouldn't find elsewhere. Different stuff. This is the natural way of things. If you don't do this, your story disappears as nothing more than a blip in humanity. The most fantastic story in these two options will stand out in relation to others that may be considered less marketable or less impressive. And that's where, just like those two back there got together in the bed over a potato, these two problems collide into an environment we see today just for your attention, with so many stories being adapted and created for all kinds of niches for already long enough. Being different now is starting to become the standard, and things are starting to change places and concepts in a cycle that is starting to form, and only the future can tell if it will be completed. Is there too much normal stories? Make a different story to stand out. Now there's a lot of different stories, then make a normal story to stand out. It's pretty crazy to think about this, and with that I ask you, nowadays, for a story to be good, can it just be normal? A long-time subscriber of mine recommended this story to me, Maoyu Yusha, a fantasy story where the world finds itself in an infinite war between humans and demons. Just from the premise alone, you can understand what I'm talking about. This story is pretty normal. It's by the same author of Log Horizon, which I really like, but because that's the case, you can already imagine more or less how this story works. The functioning of the world is almost more important than those who reside in it and tell the story itself. In MOU, no character has a name, just for you to get an idea. This is the hero. Yeah, like, in theory, his name is the hero position. And everyone is like that. It's a work that is written almost from the perspective of old books, rather than what we expect in an anime or even a manga. And because it's like that, with this format, it's a story that brings a completely different feel to today's anime's environment, a feeling that is completely normal. And in this case, being normal is different, right? I wouldn't say it's the best story ever. Just like any other, MOU has its many problems. Because of its storytelling model, it has a slightly strange pacing. Some things happen too quickly, others too slowly, and some things don't even happen at all. The detached situation of the characters not having names affects stuff a bit too. The story often doesn't know what it wants to be on the surface. One moment it's something serious and didactic, the next it's a romance that we never received the basis for being like that, and not even the characters themselves understand it properly, and everything is sprinkled with a humor that doesn't really fit with the tone that the story wants to tell most of the time. But despite that, it's fun, the world is interesting, and by focusing so much on it, it gets attention in a way we don't see in other stories. And isn't having fun what we are all looking for when watching something? Or does everything have to strive for the peak, be sensational? The politicking, negotiations are an interesting aspect, but also because of the limited time of the anime, they barely manage to go beyond the superficial, and often the complexity is lost because that part of the story did not receive the attention it should have when it was adapted. It's not a complex story, even though it tries to talk about complex stuff. Watching MOU really gave me the feeling of OVAs from the 80s, where the animations were mostly made with legal money, more to adhere to the marketing of a manga or a light novel than a proper standalone work. So the anime can be good, fun, you can enjoy it a lot, despite the somewhat stumpy animations. But it's undeniable that just by watching it, you are only consuming a small part of the story. The truth is that you are introduced to the world out of nowhere at the beginning, and in the end, you are dropped out of it in the same way. Some things take a long time, others develop at lightning speed, and often you have no idea what's going on and you are just there to see what the characters are going to do. Okay, so what? What does this have to do with the talk about product permanence on the market that I was talking about? It's like, MOU is a pure work in the middle of a world of exotics. It's a completely normal work. There's nothing that will make you cry, get angry or anything like that. You enjoy and follow what the author wants to say and show, nothing more, nothing less. When you say it like that, feels like it's a bad story, right? But that's the thing. Even living perpetually in the shadow of Spice and Wolf, MOU is a good normal and very comfortable. It's a medieval type fantasy, and you are handed a medieval type fantasy. And that's where I raise the question, would being like this and not seeking the glory of a unique and memorable story be necessarily bad? If a work is normal in an environment where everything is unusual, would it also be unusual in this case? When the normal thing is a lot of magics exploding everything, characters doing acrobatics, flying and pirouetting in the middle of a lot of beautiful lights, and everything happening so fast that the characters don't even have time to breathe. Having a story that talks about farming rotation, how the key to the world is the education of the villagers, is it enough? Does it still have its place? Being normal is bad, or we are just giving it too much complexity to just say that the work is niche? The girl was possessed by Mayuri. That's horrible, man.